Clearing what they and it's supposed to be one of those types of things. But my thing here is okay. Everybody go get this. Him and Al Sharpton went down in May. Farrakhan and Al Sharpton went down to Florida in April or May to get it done. And so what it is this though. But my point here is he's saying now that he's actually training people in the nation to become auditors. Now, I know organizations. There's no organization that's going to audit you or whatever and do this thing in your service and then give you the skills to audit people. If you're given skills to audit people, it means that you are a part of that organization. Now, just deductive reasoning. There ain't no organization going to give you their knowledge of what they do. Of what they do. You see what I'm saying? You see, so if they are turning them into auditors, it means that, in so many words, he handed the organization over to Scientology.
That's right. That's compromise.
You see, over to Scientology.
Beyond compromise.
Yes, beyond compromise. You know, it's shit. That's a takeover. Yeah.
That's a takeover.
Those are new inquisitors in training right there.
Yeah.
The black ones this time though.
Yeah. What's that, brother?
I was going to ask you about, because you just mentioned Scientology and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it. I just know that a couple times that I met people that was into it.
Yeah.
And they were trying to bring me into it.
Right.
And the things that they do to bring you in, like when they give you a test or something.
Yeah.
They call it a stress test. But when I took the test, it was like after I took it, they didn't really want to deal with me no more.
If you had a certain amount of money, they would have taken you in. It's a rich man's organization.
Quality of membership.
And so one of the guys that did a tape from Syracuse said, well, if Farrakhan is doing that, tell Farrakhan, why don't he pay the bill for them to be audited? You got, but you have to pay your own bill. But that's just the first level. To continue in the organization, you got to have money. You got to have money. So the deal here is probably, in order to do it, although they audit these people that don't have no money, but obviously Farrakhan has to get a percentage of everybody that he gets audited, and that's how they're able to deal with him, because it's about money. You know, you got Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, Forrest Whitaker, Isaac Hayes. You see,
Travolta.
huh?
Yeah, Travolta.
Yeah, Travolta. I was just talking about the black guy. You know, Tom Cruise is damn near the spokesman. Yeah. What's that?
Along the same lines, like with Madonna, because I started studying Kabbalah, the Kabbalah Esoteric International. Do you have any about that? Because you mentioned Moses de Leon, and they talk about like their pedigree and why they're eligible to teach Kabbalah to the masses. But it seems like money game too sometimes.
Yeah, because they got about 30 Kabbalahs published at one time, and ultimately it's a spiritual system. Ultimately, it's gonna go on your interpretation. So why fuck with them?
Exactly.
You see? Yeah, you can get the initial thing in the course, let's say, and how long you been with them?
Well, I started studying there in 2006.
Okay, and
it comes and goes.
You pass overdue now.
Yeah.
And stuff, you see what I'm saying? Because it's your own interpretation. A lot of this stuff is money-making things. Like I said, if you can read, you see what I'm saying?
Common sense.
But I'm teaching you now, and I ain't nobody taught me nothing. Because I don't have that much faith in humans. You see what I'm saying? Other than to give me the initial stuff. You see? You know, the initial stuff. You see? So yeah, and that's just one aspect of it. They don't teach magical Kabbalah there.
They don't.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so my point here is that's the stuff that works.
Right.
You see? Yeah.
Okay.
Al Gore, you are a big...
I wanted to find out about, you were talking about the modern science and everything.
Yeah.
And what is this thing about the birth certificate?
Hello, yoo-hoo. You got a lecture going on.
What is this thing about the value of the birth certificates? and stocks and mutual bonds and all of that stuff. Do you know anything? Can you speak on that? Or, because that's a big purveyor in, you know, getting all your papers signed.
Oh, yes, the UCC.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that, yeah.
Yeah, could you just speak on
Okay,
that?
yeah. Okay, the UCC, white people have been doing it for years. But they brought it to us in the early 90s to trap us. You see, to trap us. When we started getting it, UC, Uniform Commercial Code or something.
Right, that's it.
And they say that basically your name is being used in all uppercase letters and you are a straw man, but you are a business.
Right.
And your birth certificate is a business. You're not a human, you are a business.
Corporation.
A corporation and all this type of things. And you got to get back your corporation and all this stuff here. The only problem here is it don't register for us ultimately because we are not United States citizens.
Right.
There was never a ceremony ratified, put together to ratify that.
Right.
So we're not citizens. So ultimately, it don't work. And so what happened was, with the people in Atlanta, I'm going to give you two histories on this thing.
Okay.
People in Atlanta, we started in the 93, and we worked it all the way up to like 97. And they was winning all these court cases, and they would just keep postponing the court cases until the judges got help to understand what was going on. But the ultimate thing is the reason why everybody ended up losing is because they came and said, this can't work for you because you're not citizens of the United States government. So that's the extreme part. Okay. Then but that was in the 90s. The 2000 versions was they started giving out money, they started doing all kinds of things with people. And then, and so they let people go through the process, and then they stepped to people and said, you tried to defraud the United States government. Or you tried to defraud the IRS. And then they started sending whole churches to prison. And they got these government agents with the preachers or whatever type things. You see. And all. Don't sign nothing. I know what I'm talking about, and it comes up again. That's the Spirit telling you, don't sign nothing. So all these people talking about do your paperwork. Guess what? They don't submit their paperwork. They charge you $5,000, but they don't submit their paperwork with all this stuff. It's a scam.
So even the energy behind the birth certificate, if you go look it up and everything, and you put your number in, and you see the value of it, and what is all of that about?
It's just
It's a game?
It's a game. What it is basically all the birth certificates are owned by the Queen of England in England.
Right.
And all this type of stuff. My point here is, all of that is a distraction.
Okay.
It ain't got nothing to do with spirit.
Okay.
You see, it's a distraction. Now, the birth certificate could be important based on divination because it's based on when you incarnate.
Yes.
So,
That's understood.
you know, you might change your name to Muhammad this or something that and stuff, but your birth certificate name is the most spiritual because that's the one you whispered in your parents' ear to give you. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's the one you incarnate on, so it got a lot of energy to it.
Yes.
You see, it's got a lot of energy to it. Some of the worst thing on the planet is nicknames.
Okay.
Niggas named Pig and Cooler
Dog.
Timberland. Dog, nicknames. Because names have energy. So a nigga named Timberland, name yourself after some shoe or Brogan. Somebody gonna walk all over you.
Right.
Brother, I don't mean to take you off the subject, but it's interesting what you just said about nicknames.
Yeah.
You know, I was reading a book some time ago and it was talking about how Nick is another name for the devil, or another way to
Well,
say
if that's the name of the devil, we all need to get nicknames. The devil is where it's at. That's the rebel.
And spelling forward means live.
Yeah, Right. So that whole thing there is based on a religious concept because there is no such thing as the devil.
Exactly.
Never was.
Spell it in reverse.